It was a sunny spring morning in the quiet suburbs of Maplewood, and a slight breeze carried the scent of freshly cut grass through the neighborhood. People went about their Saturday tasks, children riding bicycles, neighbors tending to gardens, and couples strolling hand in hand. But in a small house at the end of Willow Lane, Anna McMahon parked her suitcase by the front door, heart beating quickly with excitement. Laughter echoed in her memory as she recalled the days of impromptu dance parties with her best friend, Rachel Summers. Those childhood adventures felt so far away now. So much had changed over the years. Work commitments, scattered living situations, and the bustle of adulthood had physically separated them, yet the bond they shared remained unshakable. Today, Anna hoped to reinforce that bond in the most surprising way possible by showing up unannounced at Rachel's apartment a few states away. Anna had always been the more organized one, thoroughly plotting each step of the surprise. She had spent the previous night double-checking her flight arrangement and covertly messaging Rachel's roommate to ensure the timing would be perfect. One of the greatest challenges was making sure Rachel would be at home. Anna couldn't help but wonder whether it was possible to lure her friend into staying in on a sunny Saturday. Still, she trusted that life's sweet serendipity would lend her a hand. As she zipped her warm jacket over her favorite floral blouse, Anna whispered to herself, "Here we go," before stepping out onto her front porch. The plan was simple. Fly over, knock on Rachel's door, and watch her face light up. On the other side of the country, Rachel was sipping her morning coffee, eyes darting over the departure times for flights to Maplewood, with a playful grin dancing on her lips. With her free hand, she scrolled through budget-friendly ticket options, trying to mask her delight by pretending she was only casually browsing. But oh, she was beyond serious about this trip. She too had crafted a plan to surprise the one person who had forever been her partner in crime. Yes, their lives had shifted, but time and distance had failed to loosen their friendship's hold. In fact, the separation only made their connection feel more precious. She could still feel Anna's presence that day after high school graduation, when they had made a pact amidst squeals of excitement and anxious tears. Best friends forever, no matter where we go, they'd promised, linking pinkies. The memory glowed in Rachel's heart, a persistent reminder that nothing, not state lines or busy schedules, could ever truly tear them apart. She could hardly believe her luck, having the means and the time this weekend to put her surprise plan into action. Giving her coffee mug a final satisfied tap on the table, Rachel opened her email to check flight confirmations, her smile spreading wider by the second. Meanwhile, Anna's travel day progressed as smoothly as she'd hoped. She boarded a mid-morning flight out of Maplewood's small regional airport, with a layover just long enough for a snack, then landed at the bustling metropolis that Rachel now called home. The city always overwhelmed Anna a bit with its towering skyscrapers, endless honking cabs, and population that seemed always in a hurry. Eager to find her friend's apartment building, Anna clutched the address in her hand, reading and rereading it to reassure herself she had it right. She found a taxi without much trouble, and with a faint jingle of the driver's radio in the background, she gazed out the window, soaking in the unfamiliar surroundings. Anna's plan was to arrive at mid-afternoon. She had told Rachel's roommate Eliza approximately when her flight would land, hoping Eliza's presence would prevent Rachel from stepping out. "Don't let her slip away before I get there," Anna had joked in a text message 2 days earlier. Keeping a straight face as Eliza responded with a thumbs-up emoji had been a challenge. Anna felt her heart race each time she allowed herself to think about the joy that would soon spill onto their worlds. She knew Rachel had been stuck in a relentless work cycle, barely making time to unwind. A surprise like this, Anna believed, was exactly what they both needed to take a deep breath and reconnect. By mid-afternoon, Rachel's flight was surprisingly still on schedule. She had hustled through airport security, nearly losing her passport in her rush, but made it to the gate with seconds to spare. Her chestnut hair was tied in a loose ponytail, hastily gathered after the adrenaline of near-miss check-ins. She allowed herself a moment of calm once seated on the plane. As it soared into the clouds, Rachel thought wistfully of Maplewood, the familiar roads lined with old oak trees, the inviting front porch of Anna's home, and the squeaky swings in the playground where they'd share secrets. During her last trip, the moments had flown by so swiftly that she longed to recreate them, even if only for a day or two. This time, she also wanted to remind Anna that she wasn't alone in missing their old ecosystem of laughter and unconditional support. While both women were airborne at different times, their minds drifted into similar reflections. Two separate hearts musing over the same memories. And I pictured the night they stayed up under a blanket fort, wide-eyed and delirious, telling each other secrets about hopes and dreams. Rachel pictured the countless times Anna had consoled her after yet another heartbreak, never once complaining about the lateness of the hour or how troublesome it was to keep her phone on standby for emergency pep talks. The notion of crossing so many miles to stand in front of the other person's door was fueled by a shared belief. Sometimes you just had to show up in person. Sometimes hearing the words, "I'm here for you," was not enough. You had to watch someone's face brighten at the sight of you, proof that the bond was as real as heartbeat and breath. Anna's taxi ride culminated in a muffled screech of brakes alongside the curb of a tall red brick building. From the outside, the structure looked humble enough, with a single glass door and a modest sign reading the Elmwood Apartments. Before stepping out, Anna let out a low breath to calm her excitement. She dragged her luggage onto the sidewalk, hands trembling slightly from anticipation, and stepped inside the small lobby. Eliza had promised she would be the one to answer the door. Heart pounding like a drum, Anna pressed the elevator button, counting each ding as she rose to the fifth floor. She reached apartment 5C, paused, and listened through the door, half expecting to hear Rachel's laughter or footsteps. Silence. Gently, she knocked 3 times. After a moment, the door opened to reveal Eliza, standing alone. With a whispered greeting, Eliza ushered Anna inside, a sympathetic smile flashing across her face. "She's not here," Eliza admitted, her voice almost apologetic. "I tried my best to make her stick around, but she left right after lunch with the reason that she had important errands to attend to." She paused, lowering her voice. "I hope I didn't ruin the surprise." Anna stood there perplexed and worried. "Do you know where she went? She didn't say anything else about her plans for the day?" Eliza shook her head. "Not really. She only said she'd be back by the evening. Maybe you can wait for her here?" Though the plan had gone slightly awry, Anna tried to stay positive. She set her luggage by the couch and looked around, noticing bits of Rachel's personality sprinkled throughout the space. A framed photograph of them wearing silly hats at a county fair, a crocheted throw pillow that Anna had gifted Rachel the year she graduated, and a few random knickknacks that nearly transported her back through the years. She smiled, brushing nostalgic tears from her eyes. "Yes, I'll wait. I want to see her face when she walks through that door." At the same moment that Anna stepped into Rachel's world, Rachel was stepping off her own plane in Maplewood. Though the sun was bright, there was a soft chill in the air that made her wish she'd brought a thicker jacket. Duffel bag in hand, she rushed through the small airport, weaving through the modest crowd gathered in front of baggage claim. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a text from Anna reading, "Everything is quiet this morning, just me and the birds. Miss you." Normally, Rachel would reply with a witty comeback or a sweet note. Today, though, she wanted to keep the illusion that life was business as usual. She typed a quick, "Busy day at work, but can't wait till we catch up later," and left it at that. Stepping into the cab outside the airport was like diving back into a place of comforting memories. The roads leading to Anna's family home snaked through Maplewood's residential pockets, the trees forming a cathedral of green overhead. Every turn hammered home the realization that she was truly here, returning in secret to bring a piece of sunshine to Anna's day. After paying the driver, Rachel stood at the corner of Willow Lane, peering at the row of homes. With bated breath, she found Anna's door, the same one that had stood as a gateway to countless joys and heartbreak. She expected Anna might be inside, perhaps reading on her couch or sipping tea in the kitchen, completely unaware of the big surprise about to land on her doorstep. Rachel braced herself, quietly setting down her duffel bag. She inhaled the sweet, familiar scent of lilacs from the garden. Then she lifted a steady hand to knock. 3 knocks, just like she always did. But the only sound returning to her was a stillness that felt strangely heavy. Confused, she knocked again, harder this time. When no footsteps approached, Rachel tried peering through a front window. The living room lights were off. She could see a thin layer of dust gathering on a nearby table, as if the house hadn't been inhabited for a while. A creeping unease took hold. Could Anna have forgotten something at work and stepped out for a short while? That didn't seem right. Rachel glanced at her phone, feeling the irony of the situation. She considered texting Anna, but feared that would ruin the surprise if she was just around the corner. Meanwhile, that gnawing doubt slowly expanded in her gut. Something was off. Seeking refuge from the mounting tension, Rachel approached the next-door neighbor, Miss Hopper, an older lady who was watering her azaleas on the front lawn. In her floral print dress, Miss Hopper offered Rachel a polite smile. When asked about Anna's whereabouts, her expression shifted to one of surprise. "Oh, you must be Rachel. Anna talks about you all the time," Miss Hopper said brightly. "But, dear, I'm not sure where she went. I saw her loading a suitcase into a car early this morning. She didn't mention how long she'd be gone." Rachel's stomach dropped. Anna had left the house this morning with a suitcase. Coincidence? Or was Anna traveling somewhere? Miss Hopper shrugged apologetically. "If you like, you can wait on her porch. She's bound to come back at some point." Feeling both confused and a bit stranded, Rachel forced a smile of gratitude and stepped onto the porch. She settled into one of the old rocking chairs, trying to soothe her nerves by gently rocking back and forth. She looked over the yard, a scene of childhood nostalgia, the place she and Anna once played catch and rolled down summer green hills. Where could Anna have gone so suddenly? Her mind danced around possible scenarios. Maybe Anna had a family emergency? Or maybe a last-minute business trip? How unlucky if Rachel managed to pick that very same time to drop by. But a more curious notion also sparkled in her thoughts. Perhaps Anna was off on an adventure of her own, with as much secrecy as Rachel had used in her own plan. As afternoon slipped into early evening, Anna sat in Rachel's apartment, tapping her fingers while watching random clips on her phone. Elisa had gone off to meet friends, saying she'd hurry back once Rachel called. Each passing hour turned Anna's excitement into restless anticipation. By now, the swirl of adrenaline that had propelled her across state lines was accompanied by a subtle unease. She was half tempted to text Rachel directly, but that would destroy the purpose of the trip. She recalled all the times she and Rachel had attempted big theatrical gestures in the past, planning surprise birthdays, orchestrating scavenger hunts, once even driving through the night to attend a favorite band's concert. Plans had fallen apart so many times, but never once had that dampened their adventurous spirits. This was simply another one of those quirky escapades, she told herself. Dusk settled over the city, painting the horizon with muted purples and oranges. At nearly the same hour in Maplewood, Rachel was pacing in the golden glow of the early evening sun, ignoring the persistent buzz of a nearby cicada. She was locked in an internal debate. Should she text Anna or keep waiting, hopeful that Anna might burst through the sidewalk gate at any moment? The conflicting desires to preserve the surprise and to simply know where her friend was tugged at Rachel's heart until she realized she might never solve the puzzle by just sitting on that porch. An idea sparked. Rachel fished out her phone and dialed Anna's mother, a woman she had known nearly as intimately as her own mother while growing up. Yes, it could compromise the spontaneity factor, but Anna's mother might have insight. The phone rang twice before answering. The older woman's warm voice echoed in Rachel's ear. "Well, hello there, dear. What a surprise to hear from you. How are you doing these days?" "Hi, Mrs. McMahon," Rachel greeted, trying to sound casual while her voice trembled with equal parts excitement and anxiety. "I'm actually in Maplewood. I came here to surprise Anna, but she's not home. Did something important come up?" There was a brief hesitation, and Rachel heard a small laugh. "So that's why," Anna's mother said cryptically. "I was worried when she told me she was flying out this morning. We had a feeling you might be trying something similar. It just felt in my gut that you two were up to your old antics." "Well, honey's not in town. She flew to see you. She wanted to surprise you in your city." The world momentarily went silent around Rachel. and her mouth fell open, realization crashing in like a wave. Pure disbelief and amusement intertwined. Her eyes crinkled in a smile that blossomed across her face. She's with me, and I'm with her, Rachel muttered. We literally did the same plan. Anna's mother chuckled on the other end. That's what it sounds like, dear. Seems you both had the same idea and you both succeed in being surprised, except you've effectively missed each other. Despite the bizarre twist, Rachel's heart felt infinitely lighter. Yes, the plan had gone sideways, but it was a comedic sideways, an affirmation that on some deep, shared wavelength, their hearts were still profoundly aligned. She asked Anna's mother not to mention their conversation, promising to figure out the next step. Armed with the truth, Rachel tapped out a message to Anna, keeping it cryptically sweet. Will you be home soon? I have a feeling we need to meet. She knew Anna would definitely read between the lines. The moment Anna read Rachel's text, she felt her heart skip. It was such a pointed question. Will you be home soon? A wave of recognition hit her. Could Rachel possibly be at her house in Maplewood, waiting on that porch they had lounged on so many nights under flickering porch lights? She reread the message, trying to glean any hidden meaning. Possibly Rachel knew. Possibly the plan was no longer a secret. Smiling at the phone, Anna typed back, "Not right now. I came a long way to see someone." After hitting send, her phone rang. It was Rachel. They both picked up simultaneously, neither quite sure who would speak first. "So," Rachel ventured, a breathy laugh in her voice, "I hear you're traveling. On a mission to see someone, you said?" Anna matched her laugh. "I'd say I am, but I might have picked the worst timing in the world." "She's not here. Where are you right now?" Rachel teased. "Oh, I'm a few states away from home, waiting for an old friend. But she's not here either." The conversation hovered in a gentle hush, the comedic absurdity of this double miss swirling around them. Then, unable to keep the laughter contained, they both burst out at the same time. The stress, the tension, the questions dissolved in that shared laughter. It was a moment of mutual understanding, a testament to their abiding synchronicity. "I can't believe we each decided to surprise the other on the exact same day," Anna said. "This is unreal." "It's incredibly us, though," Rachel replied. "Remember that time we both bought each other the same birthday gift? Blue polka dot pajamas?" Anna nodded, her grin evident through the phone. "Or that time we each tried to plan the same movie marathon for your holiday party, complete with matching popcorn flavors?" They traded memories for a few blissful moments, relishing the knowledge that even with distance, they knew each other's hearts so thoroughly. Finally, Anna broke the lull. "So, what do we do?" Rachel thought about it. "Well, it's only Saturday night. Our flights back are presumably not until a few days from now, right?" "Actually, I planned to stay for 3 days if you had been home," Anna raised an eyebrow. "That's about how long I was going to stay here." "Huh. So we're both in brand new places with flights home in a few days and no friend to meet? If I hurry, I can get back by tomorrow. But that defeats the point of a relaxed visit," Rachel said, a small frown in her voice. "We could both head to the airport first thing in the morning, switch flights, then we can meet in Maplewood or your city for a day or two." "Or," Anna countered, her voice brightening with an idea, "we could meet somewhere in between, halfway. Pick a cozy little town or a scenic spot and make the rest of this weekend truly memorable." Rachel considered the suggestion. "You know, that sounds perfect. Let's do that. Just find a place in the middle, meet for a day or two, and then go back to our own corners of the universe from there. That's as spontaneous as it gets." Their plan was a testament to the impulsive, unstoppable spirit that had long defined their friendship. Within the hour, they coordinated from their respective corners. Anna found a small historical town named Riverwood, nestled between their two big cities. It boasted a lovely bed and breakfast, picturesque walking trails, and enough charm to make their unexpected rendezvous feel like a full-blown vacation. Anna left a quick thank you note on Rachel's dresser for Eliza, promising to explain everything later, and dashed off to book a late evening train. Meanwhile, Rachel managed to catch a ride from Miss Hopper to the Maplewood train station. As night weaved its starry patterns across the sky, both women dozed off in their respective seats, lulled by the rhythmic rattling of steel tracks. They found themselves dreaming the same dream, the two of them dancing under twinkling lights, laughing, unstoppable. By the time the sun reemerged, Anna was stepping off at the Riverwood station, nearly colliding with an older gentleman juggling a newspaper and a large Great Dane on a leash. She apologized, all the while scanning the crowd for her best friend. Minutes ticked by, and with each beep of her phone, her heart thudded. Then, amid the sleepy travelers in hats and scarves, Rachel stepped onto the platform from the opposite direction. Their eyes met with an immediate spark of joy, all the waiting and confusion melting away in one simple moment. They rushed toward each other, squealing in delight ordinarily reserved for childhood. A small group of onlookers smiled at the scene of two grown women hugging with the gusto of reuniting soldiers returning from war. Tears glistened in their eyes, which were soon accompanied by unstoppable laughter as they recounted the day's comedic cat and mouse chase. That was possibly the best fail of our lives, Anna joked, still holding Rachel tight. No matter how old we get, there's always going to be these impulsive leaps of faith that somehow end in total chaos. Rachel nodded. And it's worth every bump in the road. Seeing you in person, hearing your voice, just standing here together. She pulled back slightly to look her friend in the face. You look great, by the way. You sure you haven't missed any big life updates? Anna grinned. Nothing big. Just that I've realized how incomplete life feels without these random adventures with you. Texts and calls are fine, but we need these real-world collisions. They checked into a small bed and breakfast with sprawling gardens and a wooden swing on the front porch. Their host, a kindly woman named Maggie, took note of the excitement shimmering between them and offered fresh lemonade with a bright wind. The friends spent the day exploring the downtown area, walking by a narrow river that flowed gently under an arched stone bridge, and sampling sweets at the homemade candy store. Each moment felt like a reconnection, not just to each other, but to a deep, abiding sense of who they were when together. There were earnest conversations cacking up on who was dating, who had switched jobs, which new goals had been set, and there were silly moments picking out tacky souvenirs, trying on hats in a vintage boutique, stumbling into a bookstore and giggling over old postcards. That evening, after a hearty dinner of soup and warm bread, they retired to their cozy shared room. The beds were piled with quilts, and the walls wore the gentle, floral wallpaper typical of a charming country inn. Rachel stretched out, letting a content sigh escape her lips. You know, she said, turning to Anna, we should do this more often. It doesn't have to be complicated or perfectly planned. We just need to keep surprising each other, literally or figuratively. Anna nodded, eyes drifting to a swirl in the wallpaper pattern. Agreed. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in my own world that I forget how much comfort and energy I draw from being with you. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. I don't want us to lose each other to life's chaos. Rachel reached out, gently squeezing Anna's hand. We won't. We've proven that even when life tries to scatter us apart, we have this knack for colliding into each other in the most extraordinary ways. They shared a quiet laugh. The shared history of mistakes, heartbreaks, giddy triumphs, silly escapades, everything was captured between the two of them, strung together by invisible threads of love and loyalty. After a moment of tranquil reflection, they decided to push their beds together like they did during those legendary sleepovers years ago. Side by side, they stayed up late telling stories until the lull of fatigue finally pulled them into a gentle sleep. The next morning greeted them with a swirl of puffy clouds and crisp air. They savored a breakfast of homemade pancakes, then ventured out for one last stroll through Riverwood's scenic lanes. With the hours flying by, they agreed it was almost time to catch their afternoon trains back in opposite directions. However brief, this swift meeting had already rejuvenated the closeness they cherished. As midday approached, they gathered their belongings and found themselves back at the train station. Their goodbye was heartfelt but not sorrowful because they sensed this was the beginning of a new tradition rather than a one-time fix. I'll see you soon, Rachel promised, leaning in for a tight hug. Just maybe let's plan ahead a bit, or we might miss each other again, she teased with a warm laugh. Anna laughed too, pressing her cheek against Rachel's. Text me the next time you're thinking about dropping in unexpectedly. I might do the same. We can coordinate our collisions better. Their arms lingered around each other until the overhead announcement signaled that Rachel's train was boarding. Hand in hand, they walked a few steps before parting ways. As the trains carried them back to their respective cities, each woman couldn't resist emailing the other photos from their whirlwind day shots of them perched on a rustic fence, devouring ice cream cones with twin grins, standing on the stone bridge while a curious duck glided by in the river below. Moments they would cherish. The comedic debacle of missing each other at their own homes was overshadowed by the discovery of a new memory, even more precious and spontaneous than they had imagined. And the best part, despite the distance and the unpredictability of adulthood, Anna and Rachel had once again managed to prove love and friendship can transcend all obstacles. They had corroborated an unspoken truth. Even when the best of plans stumble, true friendship finds a way to turn potential disappointments into joyful new beginnings. Whether in familiar neighborhoods or in the uncharted corners of the map, they would always find each other. And if it took traveling halfway across the country only to discover they'd cooked up the exact same surprise, then that was just another humorous footnote in a lifelong story of two hearts walking a single shared path.